that takes you to the calendar screen. If for some reason you end up someplace else, there's always this box here that you can utilize to take you to the calendar. And that takes us here. Now, as we view this calendar, you discover that there are blue items, which are the Montgomery campus items, the red, which are Stony Point campus, and the brown ones, which are any reservations as you create new reservations or new requests. Those brown ones are kind of a temporary holding place. That will be a new reservation in the calendar. And in this process, what we'll do is end up notifying Mary that that new event exists, and then she'll review it and then eventually delete that back off. So if any time, if you wanted to check to see the status of your item, you could always log into calendar reservations, and as we just did, and look to see if your event is changed to red or blue or if it's still brown. And that'll give you a quick status view. So in any event, I want to go over basically how you work with this calendar for those who are not familiar with it. First off, we're looking at the week view. We could look at the day view, which gives us today, the week again, the month view, a 4-day view, or an agenda view. Here's the agenda view in the long format. This is as it appears on our website. So I usually use the week view because it's the easiest to kind of get enough information without being too much. And notice that the vivid colors are events in the future, and the paled out colors are those in the past. And right now we're looking at calendar reservations. So what I'm going to do first off to create a new event is I'm going to do just a test event here. And you'll notice that you can actually, by clicking on the calendar at any particular point, it'll open up the window that creates a new event. So let's say that we want to do an event here on Monday. I'm going to go forward to the first Monday of the month. I want to create a book study that happens at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the first Monday of each month. So I'm going to click my mouse in here, and I can't get exact time because of all these things in the way. I'm just going to click and call this book study test. And if I clicked create event, it would create automatically a 1-hour event. And that's not necessarily what I want. So I'm going to use edit event, and that's really where you'll always want to go. Book study test. And I'm going to correct the time on this. I actually want it to run from 3 until 4:30, and this happens in the library. So I look here, and I could enter here under where, I could enter the library name, but that's not really the best place to do it. That's where it will end up. But here's the place to go. You go over to rooms, and you say rooms, and I'm going to choose the library. As I look down here on this list, I don't see the Montgomery Library here anywhere. The reason is that maybe it's because of this checkbox. I uncheck that, and oh, I see the church office is actually in use, and so is the library. It's in use at that time. So I think what I'll do is perhaps we'll meet in the layman chapel instead. So I'm going to add the chapel to that. Now, interestingly enough, and see that moves it up to here. That's great. Let's say I wanted to meet in 2 rooms for this particular event. And I wanted to use the McMullen room too. So I'm going to add the McMullen room to that. And you see that brings it up here. Now, what's very cool about this is there is actually conflict checking. You see, it looked and it saw that the room was either available or not available. So that's what the beauty of this is. If I click this, you see that's what that's toggling back and forth. So in any event, with this, let's say I wanted to remove the McMullen room and not use that room after all. I could delete it here, but doing that actually does not delete it. It doesn't make any changes here. You see it's still showing as being in the McMullen room. So if I want to remove it, the best way to remove it is actually to click the remove link here. And that really pulls it out of that particular room. Now I can put any kind of descriptions here that I want. This is a book study, and I could say things like purchase a copy, in the church office, $10 suggested donation, and you could say all are welcome. And so you put any kind of messages you want here. And the message that you put here will actually appear in the calendar. When a person clicks on it on the web, they'll see the description that you put there. So this can be really helpful. You could also add an attachment, which would be something like a PDF file. You could say, I want to attach the PDF because this is like the materials for this particular class or whatever you happen to be doing. So that's very good. That'll allow you to pull something from your computer and attach it to that. So that's perfect, huh? Now, as far as the events go, or the frequency of the event, you notice that here we could make it an all-day event or make it a repeat event. At this point in time, I've just simply created it as a one-time event on August 3rd. But let's say I wanted to make it a repeating event, say every first Monday of the month. So I could say here, there's actually a number of choices I could do. I could actually say make it daily. I can make it meet all 5 days this week, say, or the next 3 days, right? 1, 2, 3, and just choose that, and it will actually then. I could make it every weekday. By chance, these are some of the lesser used options, but these are here just to make it easy for you. I could say weekly, and say I want to meet every week on Monday, and I want it to never end. Or let's say maybe I want to do it after the next 4 events. So it could be weekly on Monday 4 times in a row, or every 2 weeks for 4 occurrences. So every 2 weeks on Monday. And I could make it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for every 2 weeks. And see, there's a lot of flexibility in this. We most typically, I think, in this calendar do something like this, say every week. If we were entering in a worship service, for instance, was done this way. It's a weekly, meets every week on Sunday, and away it goes. Weekly on Sunday 4 times in a row. Or in that particular case, it would have been never, because it runs all the way out. But here we can go from weekly to monthly, and this is one that I think that you may end up using frequently. Is let's say it meets every Monday, and I'm not going to meet on the 3rd day of the month. Let's say never monthly on day 3. That's kind of uncommon. I think that would be like maybe the Christmas Eve service. I want it every year. We're going to have a Christmas Eve service at 6 o'clock, and I don't know how else you'd use this, but I think on the day of the week it'd be more typical. And notice it fills this in monthly, once, every month, day of the week, monthly on the first Monday. And it knew that this was the first Monday because here, August 3rd, that happened to be a Monday. And that says, okay, it's going to be monthly on the first Monday, and here I could change the number of occurrences or leave it as a recurring, just ongoing event. And now I can click done. And now we're set up for an event that meets monthly on the first Monday of the month in the Layman Chapel. And this is a book study. I've got the description. It's in the Layman Chapel. And now I can, I would go on to save this, but there's one more thing I want to show you before we do that. In order for Mary to be notified in the office that this new event takes place, what we're instructing people to do is to add Mary as a guest. So go here and do guests and say, let's add Mary into here. Okay, like that. And the other thing I want to do is add yourself into this. So I'm going to add me into here. And that way I'll receive a notification and she'll receive a notification and she'll know who this came from because there's my email address right there. So it's very important to add both yourself and Mary in the office as a guest on this, and then they will receive notifications. So that's perfect. Now we click Save, and it says the following are from outside your organization. Are you sure you'd like to invite them? I say, sure, invite external guests. Would you like to send invitations? Yes. And that notifies them. Now notice on this calendar, it's added our item right there, 3 to 4 p.m. In this case, it's meeting every month. So I go 4 weeks ahead. There it is again on the first Monday of September. So another beauty of this calendar is that you can actually make changes individually to events. So let's say that this event, we're going to edit this event and say move it to a different room. I could say I'm going to move it to the carriage house, like that. And I'm going to take out I'm going to remove the, let's see, where's the library in here? And here we go, remove the chapel. So I've just moved this particular event, and I'm going to save it. And what it asks me is, do you want to save only this event, or all of the future events, or all of the events? In this particular case, I'm going to say just this event. And send updates to guests? Yes, can do that, just like that. And that moves that forward. Now, and that really, as far as notification goes, that helps Mary a lot to have sent that notification of the fact I changed that one event to something else. Another thing that I could do to change an event is I could say, let's go back to today, go forward to this next one that's coming up. You can do something as simple as dragging it, like this. And in this case, we'd like to update the guests. He's going to ask you over and over on this. And I'll say, sure, let's send it so that she knows. Again, more information, I guess, is better. Sorry, Mary, you may get a few emails on this as I try to decide what time I want my meeting to be. But in any event, I think that, that you're getting the idea. You can make changes to an event, an individual event. And actually, that, when it comes right down to it, that's pretty much it. If I wanted to do a single event, just a quick review, single event, click it, name it, okay, test meeting. I'm going to create the event by editing it. I'm going to choose my room, put it in the Giffen house. I am going to, in this particular case, I like the time I've got. I can add any notes here. I'm going to be sure to add Mary as a guest, like that, and also add myself, like so. Now I've got all the notifications in place, and I save it. Invite the external guests, go ahead and send it, bingo. So now as I log out of this, that would be the completion of it. And as I said, you can always come back in and check and see if this has changed. Or of course, Mary will look at the event, approve it, let you know that the event has been done. So thank you for your attention on this. I'll show you, log out right here. And that's it.